So we're going to look at chapter 10, which is addition of fractions with the same denominator. So let's start. Okay. So Jack and Sally share some apple juice. What fraction of the box of apple juice do they get all together? So if Jack gets 1/5 of a box and Sally gets 3/5 of the box, how much do they get all together? So we're going to have to obviously add these two numbers together. So we've got 1/5 add 3/5. And it's quite easy because we can just add the numerators. 1 plus 3 is 4, and we keep the denominator the same. You can see this here because we're just putting these 3 on top. Yeah, the carton of juice is still broken into 5 sections, and Jack has had 1 part and Sally has had 3 parts, so 4 parts have gone all together, or 4/5. So they get 4/5 of a box of apple juice altogether. So 4/9 and 2/9. Again, we're just doing 4 add 2, which is 6/9. So we're just adding these two. We can see that as long as the denominator, the bottom number, is the same, we can just add the two numerators. Yeah, so remember that as long as the denominators are the same, we can just add the numerators. Of course, with fractions, we need to remember 6/9, we need to reduce to the simplest form. Remember, the simplest form is what we did last week. And we know that 6 and 9 both can't be divided by 2, but it can be divided by 3. How many 3s are there in 9? There are 3. And how many 3s are there in 6? There are 2. So that means there are 2/3. 5/8 plus 7/8. So what we can see now that we're going to have more than one whole. So when I do 5 add 7, nice and simple, is 12. So I've now got a improper fraction. So this is a good memory from last week of what function we should go through. So we reduce the fraction to its simplest form first, which we can say is 3/2. And then we can change this improper fraction to a mixed number. So we then have 1 whole and 1/2. So change 24/9 to a mixed number. So that would be 2 and 6/9. And then we reduce it to its simplest form, which is 2 and 2/3. These two are the same fraction. We've just reduced them to the simplest form. Or method 2, we can reduce to the simplest form first, which is 8/3. And then we change it to a mixed number, which is 2 and 2/3. Your selection on whether you do method 1 or method 2, I find, is dependent on the numbers themselves. Sometimes you can divide easily to work out what the simplest form would be, and sometimes it's easier to work out the mixed number first. All right, let's look at section B then. So Jack has 1 1/3 chicken pies. Sally has 2 1/3. How many pies do they have altogether? So it's nice and easy. The first bit we do is we add the whole numbers first, and then we add the fractions. So 1 and 2 is obviously 3, and 1/3 plus 1/3, the denominators are the same. So it's 1 plus 1, which is 2. So it would be 3 and 2/3, which is 3 2/3. So they have 3 and 2/3 of a chicken pie altogether. 3 and 5/6 plus 4. So remember this, our order of operations where we can use brackets. So we always make sure that this goes first. 3 plus 4 is 7. And it's plus 5/6. Well, that's just the same. So we just write it together. 7 and 5/6. 3/8 plus 6 and 1/8. So we leave the 6 on the outside, and we put the 3/8 and 1/8 in the bracket to do first. So that gives us 6 plus 4/8, which we can simplify to 1/2 or 1/2, which gives us 6 and 1/2. 2 7/12 plus 2 11/12. So this is where we're going to have to add the numbers, and we're obviously doing 11 add 7. We can do that in our head as 18. It's going to give us a bigger number, so it's going to give us another 1. So we can see we've got 2 and 7/12 and 2 and 11/12. So we do the addition first. 2 add 2, which is 4. 7 add 11 is 18/12. And then we're going to have to simplify it. So we do 3/2. And then we write it into a proper fraction, because remember, this is an improper fraction when the numerator is larger than the denominator. So we do 4 plus 1, 1/2. And then that gives us a total answer of 5 and 1/2. Okay, section C. So it takes 1/12 of an hour to work home to the bus stop. He takes the bus and arrives at the department store 7/12 of an hour later. How long does it take Daniel to travel home to the department store? So here is our 1 hour, and it is broken up into 1/12 and 7/12. But first of all, we can add them because the denominator is the same. So that gives us 8/12. And then we can reduce it to the simplest form. So they can both be divided by 2, but they can also both be divided by 4. So how many 4's going to 8? That's 2. And 3 times 4 is 12. So it's 2/3. It takes Daniel 2/3 of an hour to travel home to the department store. It costs $9 and 9/10 to take the bus, which is $2 and 1/10 cheaper than taking the minibus. How much does it cost to take the minibus? It is more expensive to take the minibus. How do we work that out? So we can use these bars to show the information. If it's 9 and 9/10, and this is $2 and 1/10 cheaper, so we know the minibus is 9 and 9/10 plus 2 and 1/10 is the cost of the minibus. Let's add these together. Remember, we do whole numbers first. So 9 add 2 is going to be 11. And then 9 add 1 is 10. 10/10 is a improper fraction. So we can turn it into a whole number, which is 12. 10/10 is the same as saying 1. Yep, 10. You've got 10 parts. I've split something into 10 parts, and I have 10 of them. That means it's a whole thing. So 11 and 1.